love our veterans, especially at gatherings like this on Veterans Day and Memorial Day. And while their feelings are severe, it is important to remember that veterans are defending us 365 days a year. The heroism that has been demonstrated time and again by veterans from the American Revolution to the global war on terrorism is sometimes unnoticed by many who enjoy the security that sacrifice has provided. Not all veterans have seen combat, but all have at one time made the solemn promise to sacrifice their lives for this country, if called upon. Without the formidable strength that veterans have demonstrated in war, Americans never enjoy their daily freedom. It was none other than George Washington who said, "To be prepared for war is one that most effective means of preserving the peace." For many veterans, our nation was important enough to endure long separations from their family, missed births of children, freeze in sub-zero temperatures, roast in faraway deserts, lose limbs, and far too often lose their lives. Their families served and sacrificed as well. Military spouses have had to endure interruptions, frequent changes of address, and a disproportionate share of parental responsibilities. The children often had to deal with changes in schools, separation from friends, and hardest of all, the uncertainty of whether or not mom or dad will live through their next combat tour. Warriors need advocates, and that is why the American Legion exists. We are here to serve veterans, their families, our communities. Veterans need each other, but more importantly, our country needs our veterans. We cannot fight a war without veterans. And while the utopian idea of a society without war is appealing, let us not forget that wars have liberated slaves, stopped genocide, and toppled terrorists. Stephen Ambrose once wrote, "American wars have been like rungs on a ladder, by which it rose to greatness. No other country has triumphed so long, so consistently, or on such a vast scale through force of arms." It is often said that without our veterans, Americans would be speaking Russian, German, or perhaps Chinese. Regardless of which view of alternate history you take, we do know that without our veterans, America would not be American. Veterans Day, originally known as Armistice Day, commemorates the armistice of November 11, 1918, which marked the end of World War I. This occurred on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. Since then, this day has evolved to recognize and honor all veterans from every generation who has served in the armed forces of the greatest nation on earth. In times of peace and in times of war, our veterans have exemplified the values of honor, courage, and commitment. They have displayed unwavering dedication to their fellow service members, their brothers and sisters in arms. Their love for the country is proven. But Veterans Day is not just a day of celebration and remembrance. It is a day of action. It is a day when we must recommit ourselves to the well-being of veterans and their families. The American Legion has been a stalwart champion of this endeavor, advocating for health care, education, and employment opportunities for those who have served and sacrificed. The American Legion continues to remind the public that more than 6,000 veterans a year take their own lives. We should all commit to be the one to save one. The 988 crisis line is available to assist anyone who is contemplating such a heartbreaking and tragic outcome. That is why we encourage anybody to watch for any person who you feel has signs of wanting to harm themselves or harm somebody else, to contact the 988 number, and they will guide you through what processes need to be done. Many times the veterans come back and they say they have combat fatigue or PTSD or any other number of reasons. They don't want to talk about what happened to them over in the past in the war. These are all things that they've kept inside, and it plays on them. Many of us grew up with parents that said, suck it up, you'll get through it. The military has said the same thing to the ones going through boot camp. Suck it up, you'll get through it. You're here to defend your country, and that's all that matters. And yet now we are finding out that a lot of people cannot just suck it up, that they cannot put up with it, and they try to end it any way they can. So keep a watch out and protect our veterans and any citizen that you feel that may be trying to harm themselves or someone else. In this era of uncertainty and division, it is our veterans who serve as a unifying force. They come from all walks of life, representing the rich tapestry of our nation. Yet when they put on the uniform, they become an even greater power, the embodiment of the American spirit. Our debt to these heroes can never be repaid, but our gratitude and respect must last forever. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, President. I just want to say a little thing here that when I was their age or younger, I used to remember when certain wars were going on, and our men would go over there and fight over there. And then the big thing was, when things got done with, they'd be coming home. Well, today things have changed a lot, because it isn't just here and back. We have troops over there every day, 365 days a year, throughout the whole world. And it's a big difference when we say, well, when the war was over, the boys could come home. It was a wonderful thing. But today, all of them don't come home. And they're every day. So we got to memorize that thing right up there and think about it. We think every single day our boys are over there fighting for that flag. Thank you.
On the computer this morning, there are like 3,600 troops over near the Ukraine in that area, and whoever's sending the drones and what have you, our troops are starting to be attacked. They're sending drones towards barracks and what have you.
So that's what our veterans and our military have to face today. Modern warfare has changed. A lot is being done by computers and drones. It's a whole different war than what has been done in the past. Before I get into the next section of the program, I'd like to know if there's anybody else that would like to make some statement honoring our veterans.
Our mayor couldn't be here today because his daughter is a United States Marine. And on the 10th, which is tomorrow, we'll celebrate the Marine Corps anniversary of 248 years. Be a hoorah, a semper fi. Mayor Lane and I both have something in common. Because this is my son. He's top. My son went in the Marine Corps in 1987. Spent 18 years in the Corps. Came out of E5. As parents of veterans, we also share the burden of having our loved ones in harm's way. My son, for the 18 years he was in the Corps, a number of the years that he was away, I did not know where he was. And today he does not talk about what he did or where he was. He's retired now, and I just want us to remember our troops, from the families that send our boys and girls and husbands and wives overseas. They are much as part of that as the rest of us. And I just have one other, I don't know how many veterans are in our city government, but you may have seen this fella before. Anybody recognize him? No. His name is Sherrod White. If you saw him today, you wouldn't recognize him. He's about 100 pounds heavier, got a big afro, and until I saw this picture, I didn't realize who he was, because I used to take him to school in the morning when he missed the school bus. And as he became an employee, I would wave to him and didn't know who he was. These are men and women that have stood on the so-called gate that separated us from the rest of the world. We can never thank you enough. We can criticize what their bosses do, but the guys, the grunts, and the girls on the ground, they're the ones that make the difference. So I want to thank you for coming out and celebrating them. And hopefully, before we leave, we can get a picture with all of the veterans over here. Is that for me, Coach? All right. Thank you, Roger. Thank you.
Hey, Jerry. Hey, how you doing?
Spouse of a veteran.
I am the spouse of a veteran. I had not planned on a speech today. I really feel that it's best for our vets to have the sun shine on them. I just want to mention though that what family members, the wives, the husbands go through with our vets. Yesterday, my husband and I spent 6 hours at a VA hospital. My husband was in the Navy. He served violently is the word I'm trying to say. He was on the island where the ship was slowing down and the jets take off, in the days where there was no protection from the toxins. So our men and women go over there, not only do they get harmed by bullets or hand-to-hand combat, but they also have been affected with Agent Orange. But the main thing I wanted to say, because I believe it was Roger that touched on it, is that our men and women go over to fight for us. And I think that statement needs to be carried out a little further, that not only do they go over there because they're protecting us. They're protecting our homeland. And when Commissioner Eckert spoke on keep vigilant, look out for these vets, look out for the seniors, look out for the young men and women who've just come back. Because we've had wars going on for many years that most people don't even know about, because they don't listen to the news, they don't follow what's happening. You spoke a while ago about the drones. We had a drone that was shot down, one of our own drones yesterday. We need to be extremely vigilant, because our men, our women are suffering from just the visual sights of things they see, not only what happens to them. Every member in my family has spent time in the military. I had an uncle who started out in CC camp. You vets would know what that is. About as low as you can go. He ended up a brigadier general. I have a grandson who is my heart. He's in the Air Force. He's a major sergeant. All of my brothers, my siblings, my aunts, my uncles, they all spent time in the military. That's one thing I'm proud of. And the patriotism of our country today has to grow. But it's going to have to grow with our young men and women. So hopefully after this ceremony and after what the Legion presents to you, you can have a conversation between yourselves of what are our men and women doing? What will I be doing when I graduate? So, my heart goes out to you. I hope none of you ever have to serve or be involved in a violent war or see ugly scenes occur. But if you do, God bless you. Our hearts and prayers will be out for you.
Good. All right, you said you had another song for us?
Too loud, too soft? That's good. Okay.